Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And fair warning, tonight we're going to cover something that is the bane of my existence. One of the things that irritates me the most on this planet, or at least recently, about gun control and the gun control approach. Their incessant need to relabel things that are not related to what they're talking about in order to achieve a gun control means. In this case, labeling criminal behavior through violence as an epidemic, therefore magically opening up the ability for the CDC, the NIH, and all the health and human services that are available to affect guns and your Second Amendment rights. That is what we're going to dive into. Everything we linked in the description box below, and I cannot wait to hear what you guys think about this one. And if you are new or you're a returning viewer, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel, and making sure that notification bell is on so you get notified every time a video comes out and you can jump in the fold with us and help to pass the blessing of the Second Amendment along to the next generation. Thank you so much in advance for your consideration. And on a side note, I know I've been traveling a lot recently. Don't worry, it is all for the Second Amendment. It is all for freedom. But we will be back to normal in the war wagon soon enough. But let's get it. I've got to walk you through this because it just irritates me, quite honest. Let me know in the comments if it does for you too. How America's lack of gun violence research hinders prevention efforts. Now, keep in mind, this entire article of what I'm about to show you from US News is searching for a cure. They're searching for a reason. They're searching for that hidden elixir of freedom that will get rid of all gun violence forever. All the while ignoring proven records, of which I'll probably do a video on tomorrow again. Omaha 360 is one that came out of Nebraska a couple of days ago, which reduced homicides by 50%. Can't talk about that. No, you got to spend $100 million into researching the true cause. It's not about a solution, and that is what's so irritating. This is about control, funding, and furthering their gun control propaganda. Let's keep going because this gets my goat. Let's get it. The recent mass situations at a shopping mall in El Paso, Texas, stopped by a concealed carry carrier, by the way, or a concealed carried individual who had a firearm on him, just so you're saying. And on the campus of Michigan State University, gun control zone, both two failures of your entire propaganda that you're putting forward here, are two of the latest high-profile examples of what has been a deadly start to the year for gun violence in the U.S. Now, of course, this is according to the Gun Violence Archive. I will say it until the day that I die. Gun Violence Archive is a sham. It is a farce. The entire thing is crap. It doesn't take into consideration any type of context, doesn't take into consideration any type of crime being committed, or any other aspect. It's just if 3 people were impacted by by a projectile minus the shooter. It's actually 4 if you consider all of it together. But that's what they do. Doesn't matter crime, doesn't matter gangs, doesn't matter drugs, nothing. Doesn't matter. Just all about gun violence. Let's keep going. As you can see, I'm already getting amped. Yet, despite the rising death toll and public frustration, advocates and experts say there is an alarming lack of knowledge about how to effectively address the gun violence epidemic. They will consistently hit the same talking points. Epidemic, 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 so that they get the CDC and the NIH to be involved, of which there's $100 million of funding in the budget for this year. Do you see what they do? They lay breadcrumbs out and they play the long game. Well, bad news for them, so do we, and we're on to it. But let's keep going. Many put the blame for that on a 2-decade dearth of gun violence research they say has made it challenging both to understand the extent of the problem and to effectively combat it. Again, Omaha 360, it is public knowledge. I have access to it. I've done videos on it on this channel. The Oakland ceasefire, public knowledge funded by Giffords.org. This is not about a solution because the solutions are both in those 2 case studies. This is about control. If it was truly about solving a problem, they wouldn't look any further because the simplest solution is the simplest answer. It's right there in front of you. But this is about something bigger. We're going to get to it here in 1 second because remember, there's $100 million at stake and we need that funding. The report from the RAND Corporation, by the way, supported modest evidence suggesting that popular policies like background check requirements, so that's universal background check, you need a registry, to purchase and waiting periods to purchase a firearm reduced homicide. So now waiting periods. So universal background checks, that's a universal registry, and then waiting periods, mandatory waiting periods. So you can't have your rights until the government says that you're okay to have them. Yeah, you already have a NICS background check system and the FBI backing it up. This is where I get really spicy because they say that their ways don't work even though their ways were the only way last time. It's a consistent, never-ending domino effect. Anyway, let's keep going. But the bottom line, according to researchers, is that better information is needed to inform policies. No, it's not. The answer is already available. I'm going to say it again. Omaha 360, Oakland ceasefire. I'm going to do a video that one of my writers from the Second Press did, all about an article comparing those two and showing the answer right there. Just saying. Previous efforts to create a national firearm injury surveillance system have hit political roadblocks. In 1994, the Center for Disease Control, epidemic, and Prevention funded the development of 7 firearm injury monitoring systems in states, but the effort ended in 1997 when Congress enacted the so-called Dickey Amendment, which stated none of the funds made available for injury prevention and control at the Center for Disease Control and Prevention may be used to advocate or promote gun control. Well, that's weird, because if it was just an innocuous research study, it wouldn't fall into that criteria, would it? Because it is about gun control. Now, here's the piece. In 1997, the reason that went into place was because they were funding gun control efforts through the CDC, which is an infringement upon the Second Amendment. That's the entire point. These people are slimy. They will try to do anything they can to achieve their means. And here, if you need any questions about who's behind this, listen to the name of this foundation, of this researcher. Joshua Horowitz, a professor of gun violence prevention at the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health. Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health, and a gun violence prevention professor. I wonder what his political biases are. Just saying. Says the lack of past federal investment in researching and testing potential gun violence reduction strategies has made it even more imperative for local and state governments to pilot projects and policies, just like Omaha 360 happened in Nebraska. Look it up. Just like Oakland ceasefire, funded by Giffords.org, happened in California. Both completely separate instances, separate everything, demographics, locations, geographies, everything. And they both worked, used the exact same tactics, had zero gun control. And yet, they've got to find some funding for really deep studies. No, they don't. They want more control, and that is why it gets my goat. Everything is linked in the description box below, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.